Well, here we are at the Uncle Sam house in Mason, New Hampshire, which is just over the Massachusetts border. This is owned by Jean-Pierre Moreaux and Cecile Moreaux, and it's open on a very limited basis, but we're fortunate enough to befriend the couple here, and in July of 2011 we're going to take a nice tour with Camp Constitution. This is the original kitchen. This house was built in the 1770s. There's a portrait of the Uncle Sam, who was a real individual, a real person. He became the symbol of the United States. And this was his boyhood home. He was originally born in Arlington, Massachusetts. And his father was a patriot of the Revolutionary War. And Uncle Sam Wilson saw Paul Revere gallop by his home on that famous night of April 18th of 1775. Here is a very unusual Uncle Sam Christmas tree, although it's just a few months past Christmas. But since this house isn't visited all that much, something we like to, a fact we'd like to change. Every poster in this collection has a very interesting story, and Jean-Pierre and his wife have the largest collection of Uncle Sam posters, original posters. They have a museum in Sonoma, California as well, which is opened on a regular basis. And again, we hope that this wonderful treasure of a place will be opened on a regular basis. Here I'm just doing a little walk through the room here. Lots of Uncle Sam memorabilia from 1880s and on. This is a farmhouse, and it sits on about 10 or 11 acres of land currently, although at one time it was, of course, much larger. And now we're going into, I guess, what's sort of the room where you would entertain people. I don't call it maybe parlors. And right over the mantle, right over the fireplace, is an original James Montgomery flag poster, which is quite valuable. Sorry for the glare. And you see some more. Here's something that really intrigued me here. This is a little picture here of Uncle Sam and General Pershing, World War I vintage. Pershing, of course, led the American Expeditionary Forces, and he also, before that, served on the Mexican border, where he tried to apprehend Pancho Villa. He didn't succeed, but at least they stopped an end to the incursions. We could use another General Pershing again. An interesting historical note, General Patton served under Pershing as a lieutenant, and Patton got into a little fight with some of Pancho Villa's men and shot a few of them and delivered them to General Pershing. Here's an interesting one. This is an Uncle Sam hat from the Spanish-American War. And of course, Jean-Pierre and his wife are winemakers. They don't sell the wine, they don't market it. And here's just a Uncle Sam wine. Here is a cutout of a gentleman who is an Uncle Sam impersonator, I think is the term they use, reenactor. Fred, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing his last name right. He'll be upset if I don't. Polnich. Fred actually has authored a book. It was called Uncle Sam, My Story, which I recommend. And here are more posters. Here's some of these are World War I vintage and World War II. Here is definitely World War II vintage, which are by today's standards politically incorrect. Your next Jap, and Uncle Sam about to kick some gluteus maximus. Here's a little game that kids used to, like some type of bank, slap the Japs with Uncle Sam. And you might hear in the background, you might hear Jean-Pierre with his lovely French accent. Here's a very rare Uncle Sam poster. And the man who did this, Barclay, he's actually the man depicted in the picture, I believe. And shortly after this was completed, he served in the Pacific, and he was killed. A Japanese aircraft destroyed the ship he was on, and he died. This is what they call the birthing room in the days of when Uncle Sam lived here. And a lot of paintings. Thomas Nast, you can call him a propagandist, Civil War and beyond. He's the one that gave us sort of the modern version of Santa Claus. He also gave us the elephant as a symbol of the Republican Party and the donkey for the Democrats. He did a lot of, and that's where the term I understand nasty comes from. He did a lot of political cartoons, and if you were on the opposite side, you didn't particularly like what he had to do. And it's just like I said, every poster here, every painting has a history. And here you see, although the home is not exactly true to scale, they do have a modern kitchen with a lot of Uncle Sam memorabilia. They have a modern bathroom, but here they have a privy, which would be used by the folks in this room instead of going out in the cold at night. And of course, the little ones would use this little potty here. Now we're going into the entrance. There's more Uncle Sam memorabilia. Here are some people from Toanipi. Some of the young folks here are homeschooled. This is a great little homeschool, having fun here, right? Would you rather be here learning about Uncle Sam or sit in a classroom? And right, this is much better, isn't it, huh? And here is all kinds of Uncle Sam little collectibles and memorabilia, candles, and all kinds of cool items here. And then, of course, our last trip is in the kitchen, where not the original kitchen, but this is the more modern kitchen, where a lot of Uncle Sam paint posters and Uncle Sam postage stamp machine. I remember those as a younger man. And here, of course, is the Uncle Sam wine cellar. And I was saying that if I ever got snowbound in this house, I probably would be okay for a little while. Oh, this great Uncle Sam wine, which I've sampled, and it's very well done. He and his wife have won awards for their wine. And as I swing around, more modern day Uncle Sam items. Yes, and even Uncle Sam cereal. Well, this is just our here, just taking a look out the modern kitchen out to the back. You'll see the barn and some of the wooded area, which probably in the days of Uncle Sam was all cleared. But thanks to the fact that we don't need as many acres to raise our food, a lot of the farmland is reverted back to its natural stuff. So anyway, we do highly recommend getting in touch with Cecile and Jean-Pierre. I'll put some information on this video below here, so you and maybe someday this will be open on a regular basis, and many more people can enjoy this rich history.